What is going on, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we are going to be doing an in-depth analysis as to which way Texas will vote in 2020. Now, there's a lot of people that basically, if you were to ask, how do you think Texas will vote in 2020? You're kind of getting a split opinion on how people feel like Texas will vote in 2020. You have some people basically saying, yeah, Texas is going to go blue because the demographics are changing in Texas. And then we have a lot of people saying, well, obviously Texas is going to go red. And I am one of those people who do think that there is no way that Texas will actually switch blue in the near future, at least into 2020 and 2024. Around 2028 to maybe 2032 is maybe around the time whenever Texas may have that switch, but kind of predicting anything past 2024 is extremely weird because it's kind of like saying, okay, well, I know exactly who's going to run in 2028 or 2032. So it's kind of just opposite of what you kind of want to think. In any case, what I'm going to be looking at is kind of just the demographics of Texas, what people think in Texas, and a lot more. So first off, we're going to be analyzing the 2016 results. President Trump won the United States Electoral College 306 electoral votes to 232 electoral votes against Hillary Clinton. That ended up going down about 304 to 227 after the Electoral College actually did vote. Now, Texas, for the matter, was kind of close. It was closer. It was about 9 points in 2016. That is the closest Texas has ever been in sort of a presidential race in a pretty long time. I think it's been the closest it's been ever since Bill Clinton in 1992. So what can Texas do? What does Texas have? Texas actually carries 38 electoral votes, which is the second largest in the United States. Texas is the second largest state in the U.S. behind California, and it is the most important bastion of Republican strength in the Union. Now, in 2016, Donald Trump did do exceptionally well in Texas. There is no doubting that. He won almost by about 800,000 votes, or actually over 800,000 votes. That is still a very strong position to show yourself in a very conservative state. Now, the point range was way higher in states such as Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Alabama, but not as close to states such as Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, or even Iowa. I think Iowa was like way higher. So scratch that. Now, in the future, we have actually seen some changes in these election votes. In 2018, where Ted Cruz did win against Beto O'Rourke in the Senate. Beto O'Rourke was an extremely popular Democrat. Just out of nowhere, this young man just came and nearly seized an entire Senate seat from the state of Texas for the Democratic Party. And this was because of the way he campaigned. He campaigned by going to each and every county in the state of Texas and saying, what can I do for you to make you feel included? What can I do for you to make Republicans feel included? Because you are a Democrat running in Texas. And that did show in the polls during the 2018 election. He lost 48 to 50. That is a near 2 point difference, 2.5 point difference for the two. And that is the strongest any Democrat has ever performed in a very long time. I believe ever since Ann Richards was actually in office. He would have been the first Democrat since Ann Richards to hold a statewide office for Texas. And unfortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, Texas did not switch. However, there was one county in particular that caught my attention whenever the election came around, and that was Tarrant County. Tarrant County is home to Fort Worth, and they were very, very close in the election. It was 49.9 for Beto and 49.2. And that is exceptionally well, because that is the first time Tarrant County has voted for a Democrat in over 20 years, at least in my lifetime. Fort Worth is a pretty conservative city, and they are home to the stockyards. They're home to a lot of different things. Obviously, they are a city. However, the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area, or the Metroplex, has not voted for Democrats in a very long time. It has been at least since, I believe, Jimmy Carter that actually happened, especially in these outer counties. Because the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area is basically made up of Dallas County, Tarrant County, home to Fort Worth, Denton County, home to Denton, and Collin County, home to Plano, Frisco, and a lot of other larger cities, as well as Rockwall County. But sometimes it kind of depends. But basically, these 4 counties are the major counties for the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area. Now, other than that, Texas did not really do anything, except that just the vote share in a lot of these conservative counties did get a lot smaller for Ted Cruz, and that was not good news for Ted Cruz. Now, a lot of people, if you ask them, they are citing this election race as saying, okay, well, the Texas is going blue. So some people are actually even recording Texas as a battleground state for 2020, as John Cornyn will be facing off against another Democrat. There's only one more year left before Texas is up for grabs for a Democrat. And I'm basically kind of here saying I don't think that's going to happen. I think it may be close, but I don't think it's going to be as close as 2018 was. And that is simply because Beto O'Rourke was a pretty good candidate, and that is a one-in-a-lifetime chance for a lot of people, or one-in-a-generation chance, actually. There's not a lot of people that you can actually show to say, okay, well, I'm actually going to switch up Texas. That's not how it works. For example, Alabama, the only reason Alabama is even blue right now is because Roy Moore was such a bad candidate for the Republican Party and for the people of Alabama that Republicans even voted Democrat, because they did not want to be the ones associated with Roy Moore, because no one wanted to be associated with a pedophile in the Senate. So that's kind of the reason why a lot of these Republican races have been going against the Republicans, is because the Republican Party has been electing these candidates saying, well, I'm basically just going to go after this. And I mean, I'd hate to say it, but Donald Trump endorsing these candidates and then that candidate losing, and then the other Republican candidate just completely loses their momentum, or they even just lose their support because of situations like Roy Moore. And even in the House, there was not a lot of differences in the Texas House of Representatives, which sent only 2 Democrat gains to the House of Representatives from the state of Texas. One of these was notably Texas District 32, where Pete Sessions, who was an incumbent, who has been an incumbent for at least, I think, about 20 years, he lost his race against former mayor of Dallas, Colin Allred. And that was about by 20,000 votes, or about 7 points. This was that kind of race. I couldn't really say why. I think it's because of Dallas being a metropolitan area that, I mean, a lot of people obviously, and one of the main explanations I usually hear, and I'm gonna repeat it again, is that people in city areas are more liberal. And if you live in a city, obviously you're gonna support that idea. This is the same scenario. A lot of people who were anti-Trump, and Dallas is a pretty liberal and diverse area that is full of a lot of Hispanic voters. That is the reason why Texas 32 actually flipped to the Democratic Party. Now, if the Democrats can actually keep that seat, that is for another story. And another change in that was actually Texas District 37, whenever incumbent John Culberson was beat out by Lizzie Fletcher. Now, this district is actually home to East Houston, and East Houston is probably going to be one of the most diverse cities in the nation. I've been to Houston several times, and I mean, it's not there's not a lot of white people over there, and unfortunately, whenever you go by party lines, more minority voters usually tend to vote Democrat, and a lot of whiter voters usually tend to vote more Republican. However, those demographics kind of do change, and that kind of leads me on to the next topic, which is about demographics. Now, do demographics judge vote? Yes, but not entirely. Now, the reason I say that is because basically a lot of people, whenever the 2016 and 2018 elections were rolling around, a lot of people said, okay, well, there's a lot of change coming on, so there's more. One of the reasons people say this is because by 2045, white people will no longer have the majority in population share of the United States. And a lot of people are kind of afraid of this. A lot of people kind of don't care about this, or they just kind of are in the middle. Now, whenever people say this, a lot of people say, well, that means Democrats are going to start winning more elections. Now, that only means if you kind of just keep it in a way where you think that you're going to be able to get the vote. Now, a lot of that, now maybe in the future there could actually be a similar switch to what we saw in 1967, whenever the Democrats and Republicans kind of switched their platforms. And there's a kind of a debate whether they really did switch or not, but that's kind of a discussion for another video. And if you guys actually want to hear about that, let me know. But anyway, what I really think about it is, assuming that minority voters will actually vote Democrat in future elections is kind of condescending, because if I was told by someone, oh, well, you're white, so you're going to vote Republican, I mean, it kind of just doesn't sound good, and it doesn't sound right to me. I don't want to be associated to a political party because of my race. I want to be associated to a political party because I believe in certain ideas and ideals and ideologies. And so kind of hearing that kind of argument about, oh yeah, well, more Mexicans means more Democrats, blah, blah, blah. It just kind of sounds really weird. And I know, and some of the facts actually do prove that a lot of more Hispanic voters, especially in Texas, do actually vote Democrat. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, we have pretty far off races in literally Austin, which, I mean, you can even actually bring in the argument of gerrymandering, because, I mean, this kind of looks like a gerrymandered district. Look at, I mean, Austin is put into 3 different districts, and only one of them is Democrat. And that district goes all the way down to San Antonio. So that's also a discussion for another time. I mean, look at that. That just looks weird. Come on. Oh yeah, that's because San Antonio is literally in the middle of that district, and it goes all the way to Austin. So in any case, guys, if you guys like this video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let me know what you guys think is going to happen in 2020. When do you think Texas is going to vote for Democrat in the near future? So go ahead and let me know in the comments, and guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you want to see any more videos like this, and I'll see you guys there.